Beloved chosen one, stop scrolling for a moment. Heaven has paused your timeline so that this message can find you not by coincidence, but by divine appointment. This is not an algorithm. This is an intervention. You are standing on sacred ground between what was and what will be. There is a stirring in the heavens over your name, a countdown already set in motion. This Wednesday is not an ordinary day, it is a threshold, a spiritual eruption of fortune that has been gathering behind the veil, waiting for divine clearance. You have felt the tremors already, haven't you? The strange alignment of events, the tension in your spirit, the sudden dreams and whispers that seem to call your name. They are not random. Heaven has chosen this week, this moment, this very breath to remind you that destiny has not forgotten you. Every unanswered prayer, every quiet tear, every almost breakthrough that slipped through your fingers, it was not denied, only delayed for divine synchronization. Listen closely, you were never overlooked, you were being prepared. God hid you in plain sight, refining your heart while others were chasing temporary crowns. You've walked through storms that should have destroyed you, but somehow, you kept going. That's not human endurance, that's divine preservation. The fact that you are reading this proves that heaven still has an active assignment with your name on it. You are the one set apart in your family, the one who feels both out of place and ahead of your time. While others live in cycles of comfort, your soul has been restless, sensing something greater. That restlessness is not frustration, it is prophecy. It's heaven saying you were not made for ordinary timing. You are made for appointed moments. This Wednesday marks one. The Spirit of God has been orchestrating divine intersections. Doors that refuse to open will respond to your voice. People who once dismissed you will seek your counsel. Opportunities you thought were lost will circle back with multiplied favor. You will not have to chase what was already written in your scroll. It will locate you, because what belongs to you by divine decree cannot be stolen, delayed, or denied beyond heaven's permission. But hear this carefully, obedience is the key that unlocks sudden favor. When you align with divine timing, heaven accelerates what used to take years into days. That's why this message carries a weight. It's not motivational, it's prophetic. The delay has expired. The silence has been broken. The angels assigned to your destiny have already received new instructions. The world calls it coincidence, but those who walk by revelation call it confirmation. Every sign you've seen, every number that repeats, every dream you wake from with a pounding heart. These are heaven's coded reminders that you are being positioned for your explosion moment. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, the chapter 16, verse 9, in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. You see, your plans were good, but His were greater. What you thought was a setback was actually rerouting. The rejection that broke you was protection from premature exposure. Heaven had to delay certain blessings until your character was ready to sustain your calling. Because if you had received it too soon, it would have crushed you instead of crowned you. Chosen one. This is the week where things begin to make sense, where the dots connect, where the weight you carried turns into wings. Don't be afraid of the change that's coming. Embrace it. This is not destruction, it's construction. God is rebuilding you in the open. You are entering a divine unveiling season, and everything that once hid you will now highlight you. So I speak directly to your spirit. Wake up, rise, shake off the ashes of delay. Heaven has remembered your name. The shift begins with one act of faith. Don't keep this revelation to yourself when heaven speaks. It's meant to echo. If this message touches your spirit, then let your voice become part of the sound of alignment, like share and comment to declare I received this timing. Subscribe if you haven't, because this movement is not just about watching, it's about walking together as the chosen ones, carrying the same flame across nations. And if your heart feels stirred to sow into this word, to give as a prophetic act of faith, then do it not from pressure but from revelation. You are not buying favor, you are planting into timing. Every seed connected to obedience grows in supernatural soil. This is your divine countdown, your heavenly reminder that nothing was wasted. Your pain, your prayers, your patience, they were all ingredients of preparation. This Wednesday is not coming to test you, it's coming to reveal you. Be ready. The heavens are aligning, and your name is in the announcement. Comment your prophetic number below to mark your agreement with heaven. For those who feel this message resonate deep in your spirit, your number is one symbol of new beginnings, of fresh oil, of divine reset. There was once a king who stood on the edge of eternity yet turned away from salvation. His name was King Agrippa II. He listened as the Apostle Paul, chained, accused, but burning with conviction, spoke of a light brighter than the noonday sun, of grace that turned a murderer into a messenger. The courtroom fell silent as Paul declared his testimony with fire in his spirit. Agrippa, shaken to the core, whispered words that still echo through generations. "Almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian?" Almost, one word that separates revelation from regret. Agrippa was close, so close that heaven itself leaned forward. The truth pierced his heart, yet pride, comfort, and fear of opinion silenced his response. The moment passed. The door of divine opportunity began to close. Agrippa heard the truth, but he didn't act on it. Chosen one, how many times has heaven whispered to you, nudging you toward obedience, and you said, almost started, almost forgave, almost obeyed, almost believed? Heaven is merciful, but divine timing is not endless. This Wednesday is not just about fortune, it's about full surrender. The Spirit is saying, do not be almost persuaded, because almost is the distance between called and chosen. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 2. Now is the time of God's favor, now is the day of salvation. These words are not for some distant tomorrow, they are for now. You've prayed for breakthrough, yet heaven waits for movement. Faith is not merely believing, it is acting. So today, receive holy instruction, daily steps that turn faith into motion. Step 1, clear the noise. Before Wednesday arrives, take one quiet hour with God. Turn off your phone, sit alone, write down every weight in your heart, fears, decisions, people, regrets. Then say aloud, I release what no longer serves my next season. This simple act clears spiritual interference and retunes your frequency to heaven's signal. Step 2, keep a night journal. Each evening before bed, write one line that begins, I believe God is preparing. Let your hand and heart agree on paper. This physical act turns vague hope into focused faith. Step 3, speak alignment. Each morning declare, heaven works in my favor. I am in divine timing. Post it on a mirror, whisper it on your commute. Repeat it until confidence becomes your atmosphere. You're not manifesting, you're agreeing with what God already decreed. Step 4, forgive quickly. Bitterness delays blessing. Before Wednesday, choose one name that still hurts to mention. Write it down. Whisper, I release you. I choose peace. You don't need to message them. Your forgiveness is between you and heaven. This releases divine circulation. Step 5, sow an act of faith. Do one tangible deed that proves your readiness. Donate discreetly. Pay for a stranger's meal, volunteer, or bless someone financially. You're not buying favor, you're participating in heaven's economy. Every seed of obedience grows in supernatural soil. Step 6. Heal a relationship. If someone close feels distant, send a simple message wishing you peace. No explanation needed. This opens relational gates that may have blocked your blessing. Step 7. Prepare your space. On Wednesday morning, rise early. Open your windows. Let the light in. Play soft worship. Dress as if meeting destiny itself. Gratitude is the fragrance that draws miracles. Step 8. Practice morning discipline. Read one short passage of scripture and sit 5 minutes in silence. Consistency over intensity, this builds spiritual rhythm stronger than emotion. Step 9. Bless others publicly. Each day, speak or post one sentence of encouragement. When you release blessing, heaven routes blessing back toward you. Step 10. Stay humble and consistent. When fortune begins to move, when unexpected favor appears, remain grounded. You are blessed to bless. Use your influence to lift others. Pride cancels presence. Humility attracts increase. Chosen one. These are not symbolic rituals, but prophetic alignments, simple, daily movements that synchronize your earthly rhythm with heaven's tempo. Every instruction is a seed. You may ask, but what if nothing happens Wednesday? Oh, something will happen. The invisible shift always precedes the visible one. Heaven never lies. Movement begins in the unseen and manifests through obedience. If you respond like Paul, bold, immediate, surrendered, then the doors Agrippa never walked through will open wide before you. There is a reason you are reading this now and not last week. Heaven knew this was the precise moment your heart would fully respond. So I challenge you, don't be almost persuaded. Be all in. Write this declaration somewhere visible: I am fully persuaded. It's not for performance, it's testimony. Every time you read it, you reaffirm that your decision is final. Agrippa's story ended in hesitation. Yours doesn't have to. This is your moment of alignment. The countdown continues. The blessing circling your life is ready to land, but it needs an open runway called obedience. Walk the practical. Live the spiritual. Combine faith with follow-through. And when heaven's explosion of fortune arrives this Wednesday, you will know it wasn't coincidence. It was confirmation. There is a war you cannot see. Chosen one. It rages not on battlefields of earth, but in the quiet corners of your mind, in the silent wars of your heart. You felt it, the unseen tug between peace and panic, faith and fear, calling and comfort. Every time you try to rise, something whispers. Stay where you are. That whisper is not from heaven. It is the residue of resistance sent to keep you from walking into your explosion of fortune this Wednesday. Behind every hardship, every misunderstanding, every door that slammed shut, there was more happening than you realized. The unseen realm trembled the moment you said yes to purpose. Darkness identified your potential before the world did. That's why you were targeted early. That's why rejection came before recognition. That's why your path was lonelier than most. But hear this now, the fight is proof that you are feared in hell. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. You were marked before you were born. Heaven declared your assignment before the earth ever knew your name. That is why darkness tries to suffocate your confidence, because the enemy cannot destroy what God has blessed. But he can distract what God has destined. You have spent seasons feeling forgotten, when in truth you were being fortified. Every tear you cried was training, every disappointment, divine discipline, every delay, heaven's hidden defense. Chosen one, Understand this: no battle you have faced has been wasted. The sleepless nights, the loneliness, the people who betrayed you, all of it has built spiritual muscle in you. You now carry authority that only pain can produce. You've been wondering why your prayers feel heavier lately, why your spirit feels the weight of others' burdens. It's because heaven has elevated your rank in the unseen realm. You are no longer a spectator, you are a commander. And yet, this battle has made you tired, hasn't it? You've questioned if it's even worth it. You've looked around and seen others prosper while you waited faithfully. You've wondered, did God forget me? No, beloved, you weren't forgotten. You were being positioned. You were hidden in God's timing, not ignored in man's timeline. The preparation season often feels like punishment, but it's protection. There's something you must understand about this week. The closer you get to your breakthrough, the louder the battle becomes, and the enemy doesn't fight the beginning. He fights the birthing. That's why this week feels tense, unpredictable, emotionally charged. Heaven is contracting, ready to deliver your promise. Don't misinterpret the pressure. It's a sign that delivery is near. So what should you do? Stay anchored in presence. Wake up and pray aloud each morning before checking your phone. Declare over your day, I carry divine authority. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Speak it into the air until your atmosphere shifts. Fast from fear. Every time anxiety tries to crawl in, replace it with praise. Say out loud, I trust you, Lord, even when your emotions scream otherwise. This is not denial, it's dominion. Guard your gates. Be careful what voices you allow into your space this week. Music, conversation, news, all of them plant seeds in your spirit. Protect your focus like a soldier guarding a treasure chest. Move in silence. You don't need to announce what heaven is doing. Let your results speak. The enemy cannot attack what he cannot identify. And above all, hold your peace. Peace is not passive, it's your spiritual weapon. The enemy feeds on your reaction, but when you remain still, his schemes collapse. The battle is not yours, it's the Lord's. You are not fighting for victory, you are fighting from victory. Every force that once intimidated you now fears you, because you are awakening to who you really are: chosen, crowned, unstoppable. There's one thing I need you to do right now. Go to the comments and type these 4 words, light wins again. Do you know why? Because every time you declare it, you remind both heaven and hell whose side you're on. You're not typing for attention, you're typing for alignment. The words light wins again are a battle cry that reverberates through the unseen world. They affirm that darkness doesn't get the final say over your mind, your money, your family, or your future. When you comment those words, you activate spiritual agreement. Heaven records your confession, angels respond to your faith, and peace begins to replace panic. This is not superstition, it's scriptural. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and by your declaration, you choose life. So declare it right now, not timidly but boldly. Type it and feel the shift inside you. Light wins again. You are no longer the one being attacked. You are the one heaven sends. You are light, and light doesn't run from darkness, it exposes it. You've survived enough to be trusted with more. You're not waiting for the war to end. You are the end of the war. So lift your head, chosen one. The battle is fierce because the blessing is near. Stand your ground. Keep your worship loud and your worries silent. The darkness that tried to bury you is about to witness your resurrection. Remember the promise before you were formed. You were known. Before you were born, you were chosen. And nothing, no weapon, no whisper, No delay can cancel what heaven has decreed over your life. Chosen one, the heavens are opening their records. The hour you've been waiting for is written not in calendars of men, but in the divine archives of eternity. There are scrolls that hold your name, scrolls that have waited for the sound of your obedience to unseal them. This is not ordinary time. This is the day when heaven begins to balance the scales. What was stolen, delayed, or forgotten is being summoned back to you in full measure. There are divine accountants in the unseen realm. Every tear you cried has been recorded, every sacrifice noted, every prayer preserved. You thought heaven was silent, but heaven was storing. The ledger of your life is being reviewed, and the numbers are about to turn in your favor. When God opens a record, He doesn't just restore, He multiplies. The years that were wasted will now return as wisdom, and the pain that once broke you will now become your platform. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. This is not poetry, this is policy. The word restore in heaven's language means to return with increase. You are not about to receive what you lost. You are about to receive what you lost plus the interest accumulated through your endurance. The suffering became the seed, and now harvest has matured. But listen carefully. Chosen one, when heaven releases justice, it begins first in your inner world. The restoration that's coming will not only repair finances or opportunities, it will repair your sense of identity. You've allowed past seasons to define you, to convince you that delay meant denial. Yet heaven says today, you are still on time. Everything that seemed broken beyond repair will start to come together in ways that make no logical sense. Relationships will be redeemed, projects resurrected, and dormant gifts reawakened. Even the mistakes that once humiliated you will become testimonies that elevate you. God wastes nothing, not even your wrong turns. You see, when the divine ledger opens, it exposes not just what was lost, but what is owed. The enemy thought he could take your joy without repayment, but heaven operates by justice. The same way you are forgiven, you are also compensated. Divine law demands restoration for every loss endured in faith. So this week, especially as Wednesday draws near, I want you to walk like someone expecting a heavenly settlement. Look at your hands and say aloud, these hands are ready to receive. Begin each morning with gratitude for what's already on the way. Don't wait for visible evidence. Gratitude is the proof of faith before manifestation. And as you move through your day, keep your eyes open for signs of divine reversal, a message you weren't expecting, a door that reopens, a conversation that shifts everything. When these moments appear, don't call them coincidences and call them confirmations. But remember, restoration also requires readiness. When God returns what was lost, He expects stewardship, not sentiment. If you're asking for financial blessing, prepare a new budget. If you're praying for relationships, prepare your heart to forgive. If you're expecting promotion, prepare your skills to handle greater responsibility. Heaven doesn't release what you cannot sustain. Take a few minutes each evening this week to write down what restoration looks like for you. What do you want to see revived? What part of your life feels over but shouldn't be? Put it on paper, not because God needs the reminder, but because faith needs direction. There is also a prophetic act you must do. Give your loss a purpose. If you lost time, dedicate your future time to helping others. If you lost money, bless someone struggling. If you lost love, choose to love more freely. The enemy cannot steal what you willingly turn into ministry. Every time you transform pain into service, you force hell to regret touching your life. The ledger is open. Chosen one. This is your season of divine accounting. You are standing at the threshold of recompense, where your obedience becomes currency. Heaven is releasing what belongs to you, and you will not have to strive for it, only stay aligned. Right now, I want you to mark this moment with a number that represents balance, divine order, and completion in the spiritual realm. Go to the comments and type 888. Why 888? Because while the world measures in sevens for completion, heaven moves in eights for new beginnings beyond completion. The 888 is the signature of resurrection, something old dying, something holy rising. It symbolizes that what ended in loss will now reopen in overflow. When you type 8888, you're not performing a ritual. You're agreeing with heaven's calculation. You're declaring, I believe my restoration will not be partial, but pressed down, shaken together, and running over. It is a prophetic signature on your spiritual document of recompense. Heaven reads faith written in numbers as well as in words. Chosen one. This is your recompense hour. The scales are turning. The records are unsealed. The years are returning. Do not let fear make you hesitate. Do not speak words of doubt, for your mouth now writes in the same ink. Heaven uses, speak increase, walk restoration. Expect repayment. And when the blessing lands, when the call comes, the door opens. The opportunity appears, lift your hands and whisper, He remembered me. Because that is what this moment truly means. Heaven never forgot. It was simply waiting for the appointed day to settle your account. The books are open and your name shines in gold upon their pages. This Wednesday, justice will not just visit, it will dwell. Comment your 888 below and let heaven record your agreement. Chosen one. Have you ever watched a sunrise, that thin line of gold that slices through the horizon, quiet yet unstoppable? No trumpet, no thunder, just light whispering. It's time. That is how heaven moves, not always with noise, but with gentle awakenings. Right now, you are standing in that same glow. The edge of your night is turning silver, and destiny is asking for movement. The moment to act has arrived, not one day, but this day. You have prayed, hoped, and endured. But faith does not end when the prayer stops. Faith breathes through your actions. The divine alignment has been released, but heaven still waits for your step, according to what is revealed in the book of James, chapter 2, verse 17. Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. This is not a rebuke, it's a gentle wake-up. You've been given wings, but heaven won't flap them for you. To act is to light a lantern in the dark. Every gesture of obedience becomes a spark that guides someone home. When you like this message, imagine it as lighting that lantern, a flicker of light that travels farther than your screen. Someone wandering in despair may see that small glow and remember that hope still breathes. When you share this word, you're not forwarding a post. You're releasing a dove from your window. It flies across invisible skies, carrying peace into homes and hearts you will never meet. You never know whose midnight will turn into dawn because you dared to open your hand. And when you subscribe, think of it not as pressing a button, but as planting your flag upon sacred soil. You're saying, I belong to the movement of light. You become a star within a greater constellation, shining beside others who refuse to let darkness dictate the night. Together, your lights form a map for the lost. Then there is giving donate. Yes, but not as a transaction. Picture a single seed pressed into good earth. It disappears for a season. Yet below the soil it splits open and multiplies silently. That is what your gift does. It becomes unseen roots in someone else's miracle. You are not giving away. You are giving forward. A river stays alive because it keeps flowing. When generosity moves through you, your spirit stays pure and alive. But if you dam it with fear, the water stagnates and joy dries up. Let kindness keep moving, flowing from heart to heart, soul to soul, because every ripple returns to the one who released it. Your support, your engagement, your voice, they are not small. They are the chords that make heaven's melody audible on earth. You might think, I'm just one person, what difference can I make? Oh, beloved, light never asks how large it is before it shines. It simply obeys. So here is my invitation, gentle yet eternal. Like this message, if it stirred your heart, that's your silent amen. Share it as a candle passed from hand to hand. Subscribe so you remain inside the rhythm of heaven's revelation. And if your spirit feels moved to donate, do it not out of obligation but out of overflow. Let your giving be your yes. Lord, when you respond, you're not helping a man, you're helping the message travel, and you become the bridge between someone's despair and their deliverance. The sunrise is spreading. Chosen one, don't stand behind the glass, step into it. The warmth you feel is not illusion, it's invitation. You are not a viewer, you are a vessel. You are not an audience, you are an answer. Like, share, subscribe, donate. 4 small doors that open into one vast kingdom. Walk through them and watch how heaven multiplies your light. And now, look at the living stories that prove it. When Ruth left her homeland to follow Naomi, she walked straight into divine alignment. One simple act of loyalty opened a harvest of redemption. Like Ruth, when you step faithfully toward the unfamiliar, heaven multiplies your courage into favor you could never plan. When Peter stood after the storm and declared truth, 3,000 souls turned toward the light. He didn't hoard the message, he released it. Like Peter, when you share what God has done for you, others find their own doorway out of darkness through your testimony. When Mary of Bethany broke her costly perfume at Jesus' feet, she wasn't losing value, she was unlocking eternal fragrance. Her giving outlived her lifetime. Every time you donate with love, you echo her act. Your generosity becomes worship that never fades. When Paul wrote letters from prison, he didn't subscribe to despair, he subscribed to purpose. His words still set captives free today. Like Paul, when you stay connected to truth even while confined by circumstance, your faith travels farther than your chains. Each of them acted, none waited for perfect timing. Their obedience became legacy, and so will yours. Let the sunrise find you moving, giving, sharing, aligning, because this is how destiny unfolds. Beloved chosen one, the heavens are speaking in patterns again. Patterns written not on paper but on people. There is a number that has followed you, a sign that has whispered in your spirit, 7777. You've seen it on clocks, receipts, messages, even in dreams. It's not coincidence, it's a reminder that heaven has marked you. 777 is the number of divine completion, the seal of those who walk in alignment with heaven's rhythm. When the world chases luck, you carry legacy. When others search for signs, you are the sign. To be stamped with 777 means you are not drifting, you are designated. It means that every step, every decision, every breath has prophetic purpose. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 8, verse 14. Declare, for those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. To be marked with 777 is to be led, not driven. You move not by fear, but by the gentle current of divine direction. The Spirit doesn't push, it whispers. The chosen don't run after opportunity, they walk in obedience. But how do you live as one sealed by heaven? How do you embody this sacred alignment in daily life? Heaven gives three distinct marks, the three seals of those who carry 777. These are not symbols to wear. They are lifestyles to walk in. And today, heaven calls you to embrace them as a covenant to live a sealed life. The first seal, purity of intention. This is the inner fire of authenticity, the refusal to serve two masters. The quiet decision to be clean in motive even when unseen. The 777 mark begins in secret places where no applause echoes. It's where you do what's right, not for reward, but because righteousness has become your nature. In a world addicted to validation, the chosen one seeks alignment. Every word you speak, every plan you make must flow from truth. When you act from pure intention, even small steps carry eternal weight. Heaven trusts clean vessels. This week, I invite you to practice this seal. Each morning before you touch your phone, place your hand on your heart and ask aloud, Lord, purify my motives today. Write down one area where you've been tempted to perform rather than to serve. Then release it. This act may feel small, but it opens heaven's vault over your life. The second seal, discipline of faithfulness. Those who carry 777 understand that consistency is worship. It's not the loudest who are anointed, it's the most consistent. Faithfulness is heaven's favorite fragrance. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be present. Every time you pray when you don't feel it, every time you serve when no one notices, every time you choose integrity when compromise seems easier, you're polishing the mark on your soul. This week, practice faithfulness in something small. Finish one task you've delayed. Call someone you promised to check on. Spend 10 quiet minutes in scripture each evening, and it's not about perfection, it's about pattern. Heaven reads habits. The 777 mark glows brightest on those who remain steady through shifting seasons. The third seal, generosity of spirit. To carry 777 is to live open-handed. The marked ones know that everything they have is both a blessing and a responsibility. You've been chosen to be a channel, not a container. Generosity isn't just about money, it's about posture. It's forgiving fast, giving joyfully, encouraging often. It's choosing to bless even when you feel empty. This week, practice generosity intentionally. Bless one stranger with a kind word or small act. Send a message of gratitude to someone who shaped you. Give something meaningful away, a possession, a meal, or simply your time. Every time you give, you affirm heaven's ownership of your life. You remind the world that you are not a victim of lack, you are a vessel of overflow. These three seals, purity, faithfulness, generosity, form the crown of the chosen. When all three meet, heaven recognizes the 777 life. It's not a tattoo on skin, it's a testimony on spirit. To live a sealed life means you no longer live for applause or approval. You live for alignment. You are guided, guarded, and governed by the Spirit. The mark of 777 doesn't make you better, it makes you accountable. You are called to represent heaven on earth, to live so fully in truth that even darkness knows your name and trembles. So, what is your commitment today? I invite you into a covenant of confirmation. Stand, if you can. Whisper aloud, I choose the life that is sealed. Say it again until you feel peace wrap around your heart. Then type this phrase in the comments as your public declaration, I live sealed. You're not typing for the algorithm, you're etching your agreement in eternity. You're declaring that your life will bear the three seals, clean motives. Steady faith, open hands. From this day forward, measure your success not by status but by stewardship. Every day you keep your heart pure, your word faithful, your hand generous, you are living the number. You become the proof that heaven still writes stories through human lives. Beloved, heaven does not need another performer, it needs another pillar. You were never called to impress, you were called to impact. You carry a mark that cannot fade, for it was engraved before you were born. When others chase signs, you will be the sign. When they look for numbers, you will embody them. When they ask for miracles, you will walk as one. This is what it means to be sealed with 777. You are the message and the messenger. You are not waiting for revival, you are the revival. The Spirit whispers again, live sealed. My child, and the world is watching for proof that I still dwell among men. Now take your place, walk in purity, stand in faithfulness, move in generosity, carry the seal well. There is a silence that falls between seasons. Chosen one, a quiet unlike any other. It is the sound that comes after obedience but before manifestation. Heaven has heard every word you have spoken, and yet there is stillness, not rejection, not punishment, but divine pause. The space where faith matures. You are learning now that waiting is not weakness, it is worship. The impatient mind says, nothing is happening, but the mature spirit knows everything is aligning. The tree doesn't grow while shouting at the soil. It grows while the roots go deeper where no one can see. You are in that hidden season of root work. There's a reason the caterpillar disappears before wings appear. Heaven hides transformation in stillness so that when it unveils you, no one can take credit but God. The silence that surrounds you is not emptiness. It is incubation. It is God's gentle hand forming strength where sight cannot reach. You may feel unseen, but you are not forgotten. The same God who counts the stars counts your tears. The same God who named the galaxies has also numbered your steps. There is not a single sigh that goes unnoticed. Sometimes heaven whispers through stillness what noise could never reveal. You are enough because I am with you. According to what is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 15. In quietness and trust shall be your strength. In this pause, old patterns are breaking. The desire to prove yourself is losing its grip. The urge to rush ahead is being replaced by quiet confidence. This is the work of the Spirit turning striving into surrender. You no longer need to chase affirmation because presence has become your reward. Do you remember Elijah under the broom tree, exhausted, frightened? Believing his purpose had ended, God did not thunder from the heavens. He sent an angel with food and rest. Then, when Elijah stood on the mountain, God's voice did not come in the wind or the earthquake or the fire, but in a gentle whisper. That same whisper rests upon you now. The world has taught you to associate silence with absence. Heaven redefines it as intimacy. When the teacher stops speaking, it's because the lesson has shifted from lecture to test. And the test of faith is simple. Will you trust what you heard even when you hear nothing new? This is the narrow path that the chosen must walk. It is not crowded, for most people crave constant confirmation. But your mark is trust. You are called to stand still when others scatter. The one who can worship in silence will never be shaken by noise. You have been asking for answers, but sometimes God does not give explanations because He is giving experience. If He told you every detail, there would be no room for revelation. The beauty of faith is not knowing how, but knowing who. Even creation testifies of this rhythm. The moon reflects light only after the sun withdraws. The seed cracks open only after it's buried. Rivers carve valleys not in an instant, but through slow, persistent movement. Likewise, heaven is shaping you in patience. There are things being prepared behind this silence connections. Opportunities, healings, reconciliations. Heaven does its greatest work behind curtains. The stage lights of destiny will not rise until every prop is in place. When the unveiling comes, it will seem sudden to others, but not to you. You will recognize it as the natural conclusion of long faithfulness. This is why it is essential not to despise quiet seasons. The lack of activity does not mean lack of progress. The surface is still, but the undercurrent moves with power. Think of Joseph in the prison, Moses in the desert, David in the fields, Mary in obscurity, all hidden, all chosen, all being shaped for something greater. In your stillness, God is refining your discernment. You are learning to hear His tone rather than just His words. You are learning that peace is a direction, not just a feeling. The one who masters stillness becomes a weapon of calm in a chaotic world. This quiet is not punishment, it's positioning. Heaven hides you to protect you from premature exposure. There are places you cannot yet go because your roots are still stretching toward unseen water. God will not let your fruit appear until your roots can hold its weight. So let the silence work for you. Let it deepen you, not discourage you. Let it remind you that destiny is not delayed, it is deliberate. The hand of God does not tremble when He writes your story. Every chapter is ordered, even the ones that feel blank. The wind that bends trees does not break them when their roots are deep. Likewise, storms cannot uproot the one who has learned to rest in stillness. Peace is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of trust. You are standing now in that sacred threshold where growth happens quietly, invisibly, powerfully. When you finally emerge from this pause, you will not return as the same person who entered it. You will carry new discernment, deeper compassion, quieter strength. You will not speak from theory but from testimony. Others will ask how you endured, and your only answer will be, because I learned to be still. Be patient with yourself. The slow work of God is still the sure work of God. Flowers that grow overnight fade quickly. Oaks that grow over decades stand for centuries. You are not a weed in a hurry. You are a tree of righteousness being planted beside living water. The silence is sacred. It is not absence, it is artistry. You are being painted in patience, written in waiting, composed in calm. Soon enough, heaven will turn the page. Until then, breathe deeply and rest in the assurance that your author never leaves his pen unfinished. Let the quiet speak. Let the pause perfect. You are still in the story. Chosen one, the stillness you've endured has prepared you for motion. Heaven is not only calling you to believe, it's calling you to build. This is the season where faith must take form, where what you've prayed for becomes what you walk in. You've learned to wait, now you will learn to work with grace. There is a holy stirring in your spirit, an awareness that things cannot stay the same. The silence has refined your vision, and now your steps must match your revelation. What you carry is too precious to remain hidden any longer. Heaven's blueprint is opening before you, and your name is written on the corner of every page. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 15. Tell the Israelites to move on. That command echoes still. You are standing at your Red Sea between the memory of bondage and the promise of breakthrough. Fear whispers, stay safe. But faith commands, step forward. The sea will not part until your foot touches the water. Heaven is waiting for motion, not perfection, not explanation, just movement. This is the moment when your calling demands courage. Every destiny worth having requires discomfort. You cannot cross over with the same habits that kept you bound. The old fears, the old excuses, the old patterns, they cannot breathe in the atmosphere of your next level. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You decide to move, and heaven decides to multiply. The moment you act, divine favor accelerates. Doors that refuse to open before begin to swing wide, because movement magnetizes miracles. Chosen one. Your journey from revelation to realization begins with a single step. So start where you are, with what you have. Don't wait for perfect timing. Heaven perfects obedient timing. Look at the pattern of Scripture. Noah didn't wait for the rain to start building. Abraham didn't wait for the map to start walking. Esther didn't wait for safety to speak. Peter didn't wait for proof to step onto the water. Every miracle begins when a human yes meets a divine now. This week, make that your practice. Act in faith. Write the email. Send the application. Start the project. Speak the apology. Begin the plan. Movement doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to be deliberate. Heaven blesses motion born of trust. Yet be careful, movement without meaning becomes exhaustion. The chosen ones do not run aimlessly, they move with purpose. Before you act, pause to ask, is this step aligned with peace? Because peace is heaven's compass. If a door looks good but costs your inner calm, it's not yours. Your progress will not look like anyone else's. Some build quickly, others quietly. Some sprint, others stroll. Heaven measures not by pace but by obedience. The same God who wrote the stars has written the schedule for your life. You are right on time. Do not despise small beginnings. The seed looks insignificant compared to the tree, but heaven celebrates every start. You are not late. You are being launched. Now, let this truth settle deep within you, the same power that split seas and raised the dead lives in you. You don't have to chase favor. Favor follows faith. When you step, heaven supply. When you move, grace multiplies. You are the evidence that God still moves through ordinary people doing extraordinary things. You are proof that miracles wear human skin. So as this word finds your heart, mark this moment as a line in the sand, the day you shifted from waiting to walking. And when your doubts whisper, remember the waters will not part until your foot touches them. Now, before this message ends, I want you to do something prophetic. Go to the comments and type these 3 words: I'm moving forward. Do not underestimate their power. Those words are not a caption, they are a covenant. When you type I'm moving forward, you release faith into action. You declare to heaven and to yourself, my silence has served its purpose. My season of stillness has become my strength. Every letter of that phrase is a step across your own Red Sea. You are marking the moment when hope turned into movement, when prayer became pursuit. The act of writing it becomes a spiritual memorial, a reminder that you chose courage over comfort. And as you do, feel the shift inside. Heaven responds to intention wrapped in action. Angels take note of declarations made in faith. The simple phrase, I'm moving forward, becomes a doorway through which the next chapter begins. Let that be your mantra in the days ahead. When discouragement whispers, say it aloud. When fear returns, say it again. When you feel unqualified, repeat it until your heart remembers movement is obedience, not arrogance. God delights in motion that honors His voice. Chosen one. Your destiny depends not on endless waiting, but on courageous walking. You have waited long enough. The waters are trembling. The wind is rising, and heaven's command still echoes. Move on. Do not be afraid of the unknown. God lives there. Do not fear the deep. That's where miracles swim. Do not mourn what you're leaving behind. Your future will require both your hands. This is your crossing. The ground beneath your feet may feel unstable, but grace is the bridge. Step forward and watch how everything that once blocked you begins to bless you. Faith will never ask you to have it all figured out. It will simply ask you to keep walking. So walk, beloved. Move with conviction. Step with confidence. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," is now saying to you, "Let there be motion." You have lingered long enough at the shore of potential. The tide of destiny is rising. Lift your foot, touch the water, and walk. Comment, "I'm moving forward." Let heaven record your step. Chosen one. There comes a time when you must face the cycle, the invisible loop that has kept you circling the same mountains again and again. You know it well, the pattern that repeats itself with different faces, different seasons, but the same emotional gravity pulling you back to where you started. Heaven is revealing that you are not stuck because of lack of power, but because of a loop that has not yet been closed. Every destiny requires discernment of cycles. Some doors are meant to be walked through, others are meant to be sealed shut. The Spirit has been whispering, "You cannot step into new patterns with old permissions." The time has come to end the repetition. The Word of God declares in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." Every season has an expiration date. When you refuse to close what heaven has finished, you remain attached to lessons that have already served their purpose. The loop continues not because God has not spoken, but because obedience has not been completed. Look honestly at your life. What keeps cycling? It may be a relationship that drains you, but you keep revisiting. It may be fear disguised as wisdom, convincing you not to risk again. It may be self-sabotage, that quiet voice saying, "You're not ready yet." The loop always disguises itself as safety, but in truth it is a prison of familiarity. The Israelites wandered in circles for 40 years, not because God was cruel, but because their mindset refused to shift. They left Egypt physically, but Egypt still lived in their hearts. Freedom is not a location, it's a decision. Heaven is calling you now to identify your personal Egypt, the place you keep returning to when fear rises. Is it bitterness? Is it procrastination? Is it the need for control? The moment you name it, you weaken it. Revelation breaks repetition. Here is your practical act of faith for this week. Take a quiet moment alone. Write down the patterns you've noticed repeating in your life, the emotional triggers, the choices, the places where you often say, "Not again." Then next to each pattern, write the word "finished." You are not writing from frustration. You are writing from authority. This is the spiritual declaration that the cycle ends here, after you've named them. Ask the Spirit for one decisive step to close each loop. It might be a conversation you've avoided, a habit you need to end, or forgiveness you need to extend. Whatever it is, heaven will not act for you. Heaven will act with you. You must decide. Decision is deliverance in motion. There is power in clarity. When you choose to close a loop, the enemy loses access. What was once his playground becomes holy ground. Old emotions may try to revisit, but they'll find the door locked and your peace guarding it. This moment requires courage, not comfort. Closing a loop can feel like loss because familiarity masquerades as love. But God cannot fill what you refuse to empty. He cannot pour new oil into vessels still holding yesterday's residue. Look again at the story of Ruth. Her loop began with lost husband gone. Dreams shattered, but she refused to stay in Moab's grief. Her decision to follow Naomi was not just loyalty, it was closure. She said without words, "That chapter is finished." Because she closed one door with obedience, heaven opened another with abundance. Likewise, your closure will not end you, it will begin you. This week, practice intentional awareness. When you feel the pull of old patterns, pause and speak this out loud. That season is complete. Don't argue with memory and don't negotiate with nostalgia. Speak truth to temptation. Every declaration you make becomes a hammer against the walls of repetition. If there are environments that trigger old behaviors, step back from them. If there are people who keep you tied to former versions of yourself, bless them and release them. Your peace is worth the distance. Closing loops is not about resentment, it's about responsibility. Heaven honors those who choose alignment over attachment. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead gives you the power to walk out of any cycle. You are not repeating history, you are rewriting it. The grace that covered your past now empowers your choice. The sound of a new beginning is not always thunder, it's often the quiet click of a door closing. Each no more you speak echoes in eternity as a now ready, chosen one. The loops end when your yes becomes final. The blessing waiting on the other side of closure cannot come through cracks of indecision. Heaven moves with those who move with clarity. So take a breath, write the list, make the choice, end the loop. The old chapters will not mourn you. They will testify of you. The lessons remain, but the limitation breaks. This is the sacred work of endings, not to destroy, but to define. And when you close this final loop, you'll realize something powerful. Freedom was never about escape. It was about authority. You had the key all along. Chosen one. When a river finally reaches the ocean, it doesn't stop, it expands. It merges into something larger than itself, surrendering to the endless horizon. That is what this moment is for you. You have flowed through valleys, storms, and still waters. Now heaven calls you to merge your purpose with its greater current, to let what you've received become what you release. Everything that has been spoken to you through these words has not been for consumption alone. It has been for continuation. The blessing you carry was never meant to end with you. Rivers dry up when they refuse to pour. Oil spoils when it's hoarded. Light dims when it hides under its own flame. Heaven's design is multiplication, revelation becoming ripple, testimony becoming tide. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 60 on verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Light is never meant to stay still. It moves, it reflects, it spreads. You are that light. Every truth that awakened in you is now an ember meant to ignite someone else's dawn. And here is how heaven asks you to move now, with heart. Not habit, with sincerity, not show. When you like this message, see it as the lighting of a small lamp, a simple touch, a quiet gesture. Yet light never questions its worth. It simply shines. That click becomes a silent amen, a digital candle placed on the altar of your faith. When you share this word, picture yourself as a bridge stretching across rivers of despair. You don't know who stands on the other shore, someone lost in doubt, someone whose heart is barely holding on. Your share becomes the plank that allows another soul to cross into hope. One act, one decision, one bridge, and eternity notices. When you subscribe, imagine opening a door not just for yourself but for the messages yet to come. You are saying, keep the oil flowing. You become part of a continuous sanctuary of light bearers, a growing cathedral not made of stone but of spirits connected by truth. Each subscription is another brick in that unseen cathedral, each name another flame upon the altar. And when you feel led to donate, let it not be an obligation but an offering. Picture a seed pressed into sacred soil. You may not see the fruit tomorrow, but roots go deeper where eyes can't follow. You are not giving to a man or to a platform, you are investing in impact, helping the message reach corners where light has yet to enter. Every seed planted in faith becomes food for another's soul. Your generosity is the river widening into the ocean. It is the proof that you trust God not only with what you receive, but with what you release. The more freely you pour, the more freely heaven flows back into you. Chosen one, the world is full of noise, yet few voices carry light. You are helping amplify not noise, but truth. When you interact, when you comment, share, support, you are not adding numbers, you are adding resonance. The message multiplies through hearts that care. So take a moment and breathe this in. You are part of something divine in motion. You are not a spectator, you are a steward. This message found you because you were meant to carry its flame further. Think of this space as a garden. Each like is a drop of water. Each share is a ray of sunlight. Each comment is a whisper of encouragement that keeps the garden alive. And each donation is a seed that ensures the next harvest. Together, we cultivate faith until the desert blooms. If this word has spoken to your heart, pause and comment something from your spirit, something simple, like light flows on. You're not writing for attention. You're planting your faith into the atmosphere. That small phrase becomes wind that carries the flame farther than you can imagine. When people see your words, they won't just see a comment, they'll see a confession, a reminder that hope is still alive. You'll be amazed how your courage to write can awaken someone's courage to rise. There is a story told of a widow who offered 2 small coins, barely enough to buy bread. Yet Jesus said she gave more than all the others because her heart was full even when her hands were nearly empty. That is the essence of this moment. It's not about the size of your act, it's about the sincerity of your yes. Heaven multiplies what is offered from purity. The smallest click, the smallest word, the smallest gift, none of it goes unseen. Everything given in love becomes eternal currency in the economy of heaven. So as you stand in this moment, feel heaven smiling. You are part of a divine relay, passing the flame of revelation from one soul to another. The light that began as a spark in your screen will soon glow through countless others because you chose to move. Remember, the sunrise does not keep its light to itself. It spreads warmth across cities, mountains, oceans. You are that sunrise now. The world will grow brighter because you did not keep your light hidden. Beloved, thank you for being part of this journey, for reading, for reflecting, for believing. If your heart feels led, continue walking with this message. Like the lamp, share the bridge. Subscribe to the flow, donate as seed, comment your light, and together, we'll keep this river running toward eternity. Because light, once shared, never fades, it multiplies. Chosen one, we have walked a long road together through revelation, reflection, and renewal. You have heard heaven's whisper, felt conviction bloom into courage, and seen how light multiplies when it is released. Yet this is not an ending. It is a continuation, a gentle unfolding of what God began in you long before these words reached your eyes. If something in this message stirred your heart, let it live beyond the screen. Sometimes the smallest act of sharing becomes the spark that warms a cold soul. Someone close to you, perhaps a friend who has grown weary, a sibling who hides their pain, a parent who no longer dreams might need to hear exactly what you've just heard. If the words here have carried light into your spirit, then let them travel farther. Share them softly, sincerely, as one lamp lighting another. But if you feel that this message is yours alone, if it spoke in a language too private to release, that is holy too. Keep it close. Let it stay within you like an ember beneath the heart, glowing quietly in your private prayers. Not every revelation must be spoken. Some are meant to mature in silence, to keep your spirit warm when the world grows cold. Whatever you choose, whether to share or to hold, do it with intention. Let your choice be your act of worship. Every truth received becomes sacred when it transforms into action or contemplation. You don't have to rush. Divine timing will unfold in its own rhythm. Carry peace as you go. Let what touched you here become the whisper that steadies you in uncertain hours. This isn't goodbye, it's a doorway. Walk through it in your own way, at your own pace, knowing that light continues wherever faith remains.